Okay, so it seems that there's been a little bit of a situation going down with a website which is very big in the VTuber space and has been talked about quite a lot by many big VTubers, including people like Ironmouse, who's actually featured in this kind of advertisement for the kind of website. Obviously, it was her finding out about VupeChat and exactly what this is. And essentially, if you don't know what VupeChat is, it's a essentially VTuber Omegle or Omegle, whatever you really want to call it. If you don't know what that is, it's just a random video chat website where essentially you get paired up with a random person, you chat to them, and you can either skip or, you know, you can go on to the next person or whatever. But this is more so safe because, again, over on Omegle, you have a ton of people that are, you know, handing, you know, the cameras down there, and it's not so great to, you know, see. But obviously, VupeChat is more to do with VTubers and using a model than like a webcam, right? And obviously, that is great. It's a cool kind of idea, and yeah, many people have been getting behind it, including, as I said, people like Ironmouse who've been finding out about the app, as well as many other big and also smaller VTubers as well who have been kind of promoting it and yeah, been talking about it over on stream, which they've used for the advertisement. But essentially they came out with a new feature which people have been getting angry over at the moment, and well, yeah, I find it pretty interesting. And they essentially say it's a new frontier in VTubing tech and eTuber. So they say introducing a new frontier in VTubing tech and the eTuber. Turn any PNG into a tuber. Just upload a PNG, set points, and even customize physics. VTubers, PNG tubers, PTubers, and now everything tubers, all welcome in our community. And if you don't know what this is, this kind of comes off the back of the Streamer Awards, right? And you can see here, this is exactly what they promote. It's a kind of, I guess, Peanut-like avatar, right? They've definitely taken a lot of inspiration from the BurntPeanut, who obviously won Best VTuber at the Streamer Awards, which caused a lot of controversy. And now they've decided to make their own tool to allow you to do it with any kind of nut-based thing, or anything, actually, to be, in fact, you know, it doesn't even have to be a nut. I think it could be literally anything. And yeah, they kind of showcase how that works. And well, a lot of people have been happy, especially considering how VTuber centric all of this stuff is and how against VTubers the BurntPeanut has been. So again, obviously it provides a really big, I guess, split between the community, because again, the BurntPeanut has made it very clear how much he dislikes VTubers and the community. And now we've got like a VTuber centric kind of a site now leaning into it. And yeah, kind of, I guess, sucking up to the BurntPeanut, right? And that's what's gotten a lot of people angry. This has also got a community note on it saying, VTubing uses motion capture technology to translate the facial movements of a person to a virtual avatar. A filter superimposing the real face of a person onto an image is by definition not a VTuber and should not be categorized with VTubing. So that's what they've said there. And this has been allowed through. This isn't even a added context that is being rated. This has been, you know, rated by people and, you know, kind of put down there as a, you know, the definition, right? Which I do think is very interesting. But again, yeah, they're 100% right there. This is essentially a glorified Snapchat filter, right? And obviously, if you don't know where the BurntPeanut's original design comes from, it's from a Snapchat filter. It's a filter on Snapchat. You can do this yourself, by the way, without even using VupeChat. You can use like Snap Camera and things like that to essentially get yourself your own Peanut or other model. I actually did one on my Twitter which blew up, and it was like a potato, and I was like, hey guys, I guess I'm a VTuber now, obviously making fun of the situation. And yeah, obviously that's kind of how people have been doing it, because that's what I always found interesting about the situation was the fact that is it really a real VTuber if they're using stuff like their real eyes and real mouth within the actual model? I didn't really classify it as, and that's the same thing for the BurntPeanut as well. So again, I don't know. People as well saying VTuber, sorry, video edited by Glitch Hideaway. Alara say I'm gonna do this with a model of my PNG, which again, yeah, that could be cool. We're saying I'd definitely give this a try. You know, a lot of people saying it's pretty sick, but obviously as well, there's also been a lot of backlash from this as well, because again, I don't think it's like the end of the world. I feel like, you know, it could be a cool feature. Again, I don't think there's too much like new that they've added. I think it's more so the wording that they've kind of added here, saying introducing a new frontier in VTubing tech. I don't know if this is really a frontier in VTubing tech, but I do think it's obviously something fun, I guess, they can do. And also, they do describe it as an eTuber rather than a VTuber. which obviously, you know, kind of goes against this one, community note here. So again, they're not really referring it to as VTubing. They're now referring it to as eTubing, but I don't know. And we can go on as well. So this is the people that have been responding to this. You got the Dark Enjoy here saying, new frontier in VTubing tech. Literally, who asked for this? Nobody. This is exactly why gatekeeping exists, because when you hand out VTubing tech to every random or normie skinwalker with a transparent PNG of their breakfast cereal or a acorn, you flood the space with zero effort slop that drowns out the actual artists and riggers who spent hundreds of hours learning Live 2D, building proper models, earning their debut, and end up with folks who aren't fine with the current state of VTubing, wanting to change it from the inside. Everything tubers sounds cute until your timeline is like 90% bouncing almonds and energy drink cans with webcam face tracking, doing the same 3 expressions while begging for subs. I don't know, it just screams lazy, lowering the bar to the floor, doesn't democratize VTubing, it turns it into a TikTok reaction spam with extra steps. If you want to be a VTuber, commission art, learn rigging, put in the work like everyone else had to, otherwise you're just a PNG with a webcam filter, not a VTuber. The gate stays closed for a reason. So obviously, they are very in favor of the gatekeeping. You know, a lot of people saying, I'm talking as a tourist, but over the past years, every form of entertainment has been heading towards the same fate VTubing will, like gaming, etc. The lines get washed out, everything easily becomes accessible for everyone, and somewhere along the line, the magic and the sense of uniqueness just disappeared. The current Gen AI craze is also only accelerating that collapse. That's how it feels to me. There's no gate or border anymore. An age of endless slop is coming or already here, and that's what will end up separating people, not who they are, but what they consume. They said, at least it's snowing. So yeah, obviously, they seem pretty sad about that. We said like VTube Studio and VRoid are already free, and there's hundreds of models out there for anyone to download. The gate you're trying to keep barely exists as it is, which again, they are right there. There is many models. It is very accessible. You know, you can literally buy one for like a dollar, right? It's really easy. And also they got some free ones on VTube Studio. Although to be fair, the VTube Studio ones, they're pretty recognizable now. So yeah, you probably go onto a site that will have some, you know, kind of cheap models that you could use for now until you can, you know, obviously get your own one that can already do it, because nobody's going to judge you for, you know, getting a placeholder model for the time being if you really want to get into streaming so quickly. Say, let me use another parallel. eTuber is like if Twitter added a one-click remix button that lets anyone edit and repost an artist's original work as their own with zero effort. Suddenly you've got a flood of trolls grabbing the random PNG, slapping basic animations on it, and calling themselves VTubers, as eTubers purely out of spite and pulling the same crap that Peanut did for clout. Rejecting anime styles, models entirely while invading the space and screwing on his roots. VRoid plus VTubing Studio is just much better in comparison. There's no negative connotations there. On the other hand, eTubing just gives bad actors a free pass to dilute everything that VTubers stand for. I would much rather gatekeep or try to prevent this than deal with the shitfest that could happen because I didn't voice my disagreement. Which again, I do think it's an interesting opinion, right? Because then the Peanut was astroturfed by this company in order to make the software more appealing to the masses. Wake up, people. You know, so the big names keep wanting to invite more people where there's no space. So yeah, obviously some people are agreeing, some people not so agreeing, and I do think it is very interesting, right? We also move on to here as well. People saying, because we definitely need a feature that makes it easier for the culture vultures and bad faith actors to exploit and mock VTubing as a culture and medium. Seriously, who is the target audience? Who asked for this? Obviously, yeah, they're saying this is the same as the Grok AI this image button. While the people who really wanted to be of bad faith could always save the image and AI it, the extra step disincentivizes low effort maliciousness. Guess what happens when you make it easier to troll people? You know, if you say, I did ask this because my wife can draw, but I'm not learning rigging, I said, then be a PNG tuber. Which again, you know, I think if you wanted to, like, I don't know if they're referring to the fact that maybe they draw the art and then they use this feature to put it over the top of the art. I'm just going to be real, it probably won't look that good. I think at the end of the day, these filters are made for just a little bit of fun. I don't think anybody will seriously kind of consider this. And I do think the tools were already there to kind of create a similar model like this. Obviously, it is a little bit disappointing to have this kind of built into a VTuber kind of setting, I guess. But at the end of the day, obviously, it is something that is getting pretty popular. So I can understand why they have done it, because, again, they want to get some more people over to their site. And obviously, it is a trend at the moment, right? People saying, from what I understand, it already has a PNG option, so it's not like it's rigged for VTubers only. I would think a program like this would have had a system in place, as well as to report bad actors and have them removed, which hopefully will be the case. Because I think also, if you're considering things in the context of an Amigo type website, right? Obviously, this now allows people to become more bad actors and things like that. I feel like we're going to see the rise, at least, of people on this website who are there just to troll VTubers and here to troll them on their streams, right? And try to do stuff with these kind of, models. They were able to get, models previously, but I think there is a little bit of a disconnect from, trying to make a VTuber model, like an anime style VTuber model, whatever, or even getting their own VTuber model to use to then go ahead and then troll someone. I think it's much harder. There's much more of a barrier. People don't really want to do that and go through the effort of like creating all of that, whereas they could just stick it on a peanut image like this, and then they're ready to go. And then, they could be, I don't know, just, appearing in a VTuber stream and spamming the N-word or whatever. Like, again, it's just like one of these things where I feel like in the future, I feel like we're going to have a ton more trolls on this platform, which obviously will, not very incentivize people to use it. So I hope their moderation system is good. I think that if their moderation is good and that they can, keep this down and this doesn't happen, then I think that's fine. But, I do worry about a lot of the VTubers that obviously really enjoyed the space because it was a more safer space to do a kind of like random chat roulette type thing. But again, obviously now allowing people to do this, it's probably going to invite a lot of trolls to come in and kind of ruin things for people. So it's something to keep an eye on, right? People saying, behold the beginning of the great skinwalker era, no more culture, no more community, when everyone else calls themselves a VTuber, but no one is. Which I do think is interesting. They say, I think people already try to twist my words here. I'm not saying you can't be a PNG tuber on stream using this software. It's trying to push the Snapchat filter as VTubing. That's the problem. People saying, look, it's simple, gatekeep, and don't let people who use this stuff call themselves VTubers, shame them, and let them know they're not welcome here. Said, that's how it should be, but these people are getting backed up by people in the industry who will keep pushing them no matter how unpopular. People saying, if you're a VTuber, you already have a community. I find this idea that there's a larger VTuber community a bit pointless. Not everyone is going to get along. Most will dislike one another because of either just the type of VTuber they watch. VupeChat is a chat program and it's had PNG options for its users long before this. If someone doesn't like this, if someone doesn't like how these other people are behaving, they can report it. It's that simple. If we find that Voop is not taking these reports seriously, we can just go back and leave VupeChat alone. I don't understand this type of gatekeeping. People said that's why I call it a skinwalker issue. This doesn't directly affect actual VTubers, but is going to have a knock-on effect with how the VTubing scene is treated, at least in the West. Many of these faux VTubers are going to pop up and try to claim control of the VTubing space, which I can kind of understand, right? I can understand that, it is a little bit worrying that there's more people coming out like this, but I think there is also a kind of caveat to this kind of stuff. Also, there's one more here. People saying, I have things to say. Anyone could already sign up for VupeChat and create a PNG in the program. That's not new, guys. Gatekeeping is weird. Stop. It is okay to let the silly in. You might have more joy if you do. This type of silly existed not before the orange or the peanut. You're making it about them, not VupeChat. This is zero ways. This is zero ways hurts artists. It's not AI. Putting your eyeballs and a mouth on a normal image. Are you guys okay? It would be super cool if we could move past this automatic naysaying in our community, which obviously people said, not gonna lie, this is an outtake because it feels like this is catered to that one peanut guy and people would use this to harass VTubers, which I do think is the biggest concern for people, right? It's not necessarily the fact that, these, nut-based tubers or any based tuber, right, are going to take over the VTubing space or whatever. I feel like there's always going to be, VTubers are going to be as popular, for time to, go on. And I do think that is the case, right? Because as I said, there is a caveat to this, and essentially the fact that you know, VTubers are going to always be more popular. Anime style VTubers are always going to be more popular than someone sticking their face onto a thing. This isn't going to become a new thing where every single top VTuber in the platform is going to be an eyes and mouth animated PNG. I think the thing with the BurntPeanut is that he has such a, you know, charismatic kind of personality, right? That people really like him, aside from the peanut model. Obviously, the peanut model also provided him a little bit of a gimmick and whatever for people to be like, oh, hey, that's pretty funny, right? But it will get boring, right? You know, not everybody can then suddenly just do this and become successful. Sure, you might see a lot of people becoming nuts and, you know, cans and whatever, deep in the kind of just chatting category or whatever, really, really, really low down with barely any viewers. Sure, that might become more of a thing. But in terms of top VTubers and in terms of top people that actually do well, I just don't think there's going to be many of them. Maybe, sure, one or two will pop up. But again, I think the BurntPeanut has something that is, I guess, unique to him in the sense that he's actually, you know, entertaining outside of the peanut thing. Not anybody can just kind of pull up a peanut or whatever, or any kind of model like this with the eyes and the mouth and just be successful just because they are that. They're going to need to put in the work behind that if they really want to do that. And again, I just don't think that half of the people that are going to be using this feature really are going to put in that work, right? And again, I'm saying using this feature like it's going to be used for VTubing. Like usually it's not. It's literally just for this VupeChat.com thing. That's it. It's only for the Amigo type thing. It's not used for an actual VTuber. But I'm just saying the people that are using like the Snapchat actual tools and things, then yes, obviously there will be, you know, it will be much harder for them to get bigger, especially considering that the BurntPeanut has already done it, because people would watch other people trying to do a similar thing and they're just going to be like, I'm just going to go watch the peanut because, again, like, this dude's boring and I might as well just watch someone who's better at this, right? So again, I do think that a lot of people are a little bit worried about it taking over. I don't think it will. So again, don't worry too much about it. But yeah, obviously that is the kind of controversy that has been going on with VupeChat at the moment. Again, I don't think it's the end of the world. I think obviously it does provide a little bit of an issue for extra harassment to come their way. And obviously, as people said, you know, people already use kind of PNGs and stuff on there. But I do think at the end of the day, you know, the fact that they've incentivized a lot of this kind of nut stuff on there, kind of, you know, pointing towards the BurntPeanut and stuff, who's actively had a community that has harassed VTubers before. I do think obviously that will become a little bit more of an issue. I know you've always been able to add PNGs, but whenever you add PNGs for incentivizing people that don't like VTubers, then you're probably going to get more people that don't like VTubers joining in, right, than before. Because obviously people would have just used their PNG tuber or whatever to do it instead. But now it's going to be people that are actually going in there to be problematic. But again, I do think it's a very, very interesting situation. That's why I had a lot to say on it. But yeah, that's about all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs, use my code CASA, get 10% off again. They got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.